I'm Big Bob.
And I'm Ann.
What's up?
What's up, Big Bob?
What's up, Ann?
There's a lot going on. How was your weekend?
Chiefs won.
Chiefs won.
I made some Shawnee mud pies.
Somewhat.
It's getting close to Thanksgiving, and my contribution to the family dinner has always been ice cream pies, and they all come different and creative. And
So where's
awful.
mine?
You don't get one. So, boy, oh boy, do we have an interesting guest today. But before we introduce Doc, a shout out to Brenda
Ringwood, our producer.
And the founder of Being the Best You Foundation, which we support and endorse. Thank you very much, Brenda. Okay, introduce your buddy.
All right. Now, Big didn't want me to have a bunch of papers here, but I don't care. Because our
Read
guest,
it off the teleprompter.
there is no teleprompter. I could just pretend. I could look like
That is your teleprompter.
Yeah.
Like Biden. Read it off the teleprompter.
That's what I was just gonna say. I could look like.
Oh, she's awake.
But anyway, this is the Reverend Dr. Ed Doc Golden, and we've been friends on Facebook, and we have mutual friends. But your background is just so interesting, and I'm only going to read the first paragraph of this thesis to get started. It's impressive, and I'll call you Doc.
Okay.
You were named Outstanding Citizen of the Year for 2015 by the Blue Springs Chamber of Commerce and twice nominated in prior years. You were named the Civic Leader of the Year in 2010 by the Missouri Municipal League. You've received 9 Lifetime Presidential Volunteer Service Awards for your work in the community, which covers more than 33,000 hours. You have been awarded the Daily Point of Light Award in 2010 from the Point of Light Institute for Community Involvement, and you were selected to receive the
Okay, that's enough. So
You're just jealous because you can't.
I got none of those.
Accomplished.
You're accomplished. You've given a lot back to our community. What has been the proudest, most gratifying gift that you've given our community? You got hundreds of them. I get it. You've done 33,000 hours of giving plus. I get it. What is the best part of that?
The best part of that is I'm in the middle of a lifetime celebration every day. I get to be involved in what's good and what's happening in people's lives. I get to share in that. I'm in a spiritual party every day. It's not a parade, but it's a very quiet celebration of the best in life.
So you told me you're turning 90 next week?
No, I was last week. No, I'll be 80 in January.
80 in January, and you got the energy of a 55-year-old.
Thank you.
It's really fantastic.
Never stops.
I'm
Never
having a good
stops.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, when I see him post on Facebook, he is doing more in a week than some of us do in a lifetime, it seems.
Well,
Giving
so,
back.
let's go back to you. Where did you grow up?
Well, I didn't.
Oh, I love that answer.
I went through
that
the-
answer.
think
I
you
went
have
through
a
the
best-
We have a
formative
lot in
years.
common.
I went through the formative years in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, and I went in the Navy on my 17th birthday.
Your 17th birthday?
You had to lie about your age then, didn't you?
No, Mom and Dad signed for it.
Okay.
What inspired that? Did something
I
you
came from
wanted?
a military family. I had 2 brother-in-laws who were in the Navy. My dad was in the Army. A lot of my family members.
Is it true what they say about Navy guys?
I don't know. What do
What
they
do they
say?
Girlfriend in every port?
Well, the truth of the matter
It's
is
too late
that
for you.
see, that's kind of a fable. Bob, let me tell you how it really is. I was in the Navy for 10 years, rode 4 ships. That means I spent 10 years at sea.
Right.
Wasn't in port a whole
That was
lot.
before they had women in the Navy.
Absolutely. Well, no, there were women in the Navy.
Not on the ships, though.
Not on the ships, no. But we were in port very briefly And for as many ports as I've been in, I didn't have that many girlfriends. No.
All right, okay, let's. Have you been on every continent?
I haven't been in Antarctica.
Yeah, Africa. Egypt's in Africa, so I'm sure you
No.
would.
Went to the Mediterranean, been all over Europe, South America, Southeast Asia. As far north as Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Okay, that's north. All right.
I've-
What
I've-
rank did you go in? What rank did you come out?
I went in as a seaman recruit. And I came out as a radioman second class petty officer.
Thank you.
10 years.
10 years. He didn't come out an admiral. You'd think if he was that good, he'd come out an admiral, but
I
didn't
think he's
come out
pretty
an
darn
admiral.
good.
All right.
Well,
So
that
after
job
that-
was already taken,
Right.
Bob. So I had
What did you do after Navy?
after.
Yeah.
I worked during my time in the Navy. I went to communications engineering school. It's a 3-year communications electronic engineering program, and you get it in 36 weeks.
Wow.
So
Was that in the United States?
I was in Bainbridge, Maryland.
Okay, geez, I would have thought that would have
I
been
tested out of A
Guadalupe,
school.
Mexico or
Yeah, no
something, right,
kidding.
that fast.
I tested out of A school. I didn't go to A school.
Okay.
So I went straight to B school, which you're not supposed to be able to do, but I did.
Right.
And with an engineering degree, when I came out, I first went to work for Lebanon Manufacturing Company in Rhode Island, making electrical wiring devices. I was a plant manager. Then moved back down to Florida, and you remember payphones. You remember?
He remembers,
I'm
like,
almost as old as you are.
I know. That's
he
right.
remembers
That
life before phones.
Well, if you remember in the 70s, you were able to dial 911
No,
information.
there's no 911 back in the 70s
Well, zero for the
for
operator
the operator.
for an emergency
Right.
call. You can dial 0. You could dial information, and you didn't have to put a dime in it.
Mhm.
Right.
That was because of something called a Pi 19, Pay Station Improvement Electronics. It's a little electronic card that went into payphones that allows those particular numbers to bypass the need for a coin. And
Benefit of having our own podcast, we learn something every time.
Yeah.
I worked
Yeah.
You
on
learn something
that.
just by being awake.
I worked on that project.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right, so well, I'm trying to get to the important stuff.
Okay,
So
let's
you-
get there.
All right. You're a doctor,
Yes,
PhD.
Theology.
PhD, and I'm also an addiction psychologist.
Okay. So you're a psychiatrist,
No, psychologist.
psychologist,
Yeah, I don't
and a
prescribe
theologian.
medication. Yeah.
And your education is in theology?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And electronics.
And electronics.
Yeah.
It's very diverse.
They're
Yeah.
they're very closely related, actually.
What, God and electricity?
Something like that.
So you're in Kansas City. What do you do? How long you been in Kansas City?
I came up here in 1984, went to school, went through seminary at Unity Village, and left in 1986, came back in 1988. I was at Unity on the Plaza.
Oh, yeah.
I was one of the 3 ministers there for a couple of years. When I left there, I was clinical director of addiction recovery and homeless services for comprehensive mental health.
Wow,
So I work with people who with addiction issues.
I have addiction.
To ice cream.
No, I'm addicted to a couple of things. Unity Church.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with?
I've been to a couple services. One funeral too, I think. A lot of people aren't familiar with it. A lot of people understand Baptists, they understand Catholics, they understand Jews, maybe even Jehovah's Witnesses. But the couple of religions that most of my contemporaries might not be familiar with, besides Islam or Buddhist or tell me about it.
Unity Church of Practical Christianity is born out of a Bible-based philosophy of looking into the underlying meanings of all of the scriptures, not to just read them and remember them, but to find the lesson in them and teach those lessons.
Give me an example, please.
Well,
Pastor.
He needs a lot
Are
of
you a
lessons.
pastor or a reverend?
either one.
Which one do you prefer?
Reverend's okay.
Reverend.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
Dr. Reverend.
There you go. Reverend Doctor, whatever.
Reverend Doctor.
It doesn't matter. But
Rebel Doc.
Reverend Doc. Colossians 1:27, Christ in you, the hope of glory. What does
Okay.
that mean to you?
Christ in you, the hope of glory.
That within each one of us, there's a hope and a promise of better things to come.
There is a spirit that lives within us, a Christ-like spirit. The Christ of God would be a spiritual, an understanding of spiritual life. You would be living by principles, honesty, integrity, perseverance, discipline. My probably biggest gift in life is compassion.
Empathy or compassion? Both.
Actually, compassion and empathy are very, very related, unlike pity, which
Yeah.
is not
I don't
a
have-
spiritual term.
No.
It's not a spiritual principle.
No, right,
It's something that man created.
right.
But the idea is that you find a spiritual path to follow in life that you are willing to be responsible for, that you enjoy living this way, and that you benefit life. You give something to life.
Give more than you take.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Did you have this kind of faith when you were younger and got into the Navy, or was it something you discovered
No, you
later?
discovered it later.
I discovered it later. I did not subscribe to the kind of theological stuff that was out in the world at that time. I just didn't.
What he believes in, believe it or not, is one of the most mature understandings of God and our place in the universe as under God's umbrella. I mean, I really believe that.
Yeah.
No young kid, young teenager, even somebody in their 20s, be very hard for them to be enlightened enough to believe in what you're saying. You have to be a little bit more mature and a little bit more wisdom to understand that we are not that special. We're special, but only because we are created by God, we are special.
Yeah, we have
There's
that
nothing
gift.
different between any of us. None of us are more special than anybody else is special.
That's not what you said last week.
Sweetheart, I never told you you were special.
I'm talking about yourself.
I never told you you were special.
You kept saying how you were.
Well, that was because you were telling me how special I was. And I was saying, no, I'm not that special. But you kept on saying, yes, you're special. And I said, okay, I'm
But if you
special.
weren't special, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
And if Ann wasn't special, I wouldn't be
We're
here.
all special. But no one's
We
more
find
special.
each
than-
other.
But no one's more special.
No,
We're all special the
no,
same.
we're all given the same gift.
Right,
It's just what do you do with it?
right.
And what you do with it doesn't make you any better or worse than anybody else. It's just some people enjoy more blessings and some people don't.
Your gift is giving.
Mm-hmm.
That is your gift.
Actually, my wound is my gift.
Your womb,
Wound.
wound.
When I went in the Navy at
I thought he was gonna
17
tell me
years
he had a
old,
baby.
No, please.
Womb.
Wrong podcast, David.
we got a lot of editing. I can see that. But when I went in the Navy at 17 years old, I already had a problem with alcohol.
Okay.
And this Thanksgiving coming up will be 50 years
Wow.
since I've had a problem with alcohol.
Wow.
And you ask me what inspires me. What inspires me is that I know how good it is to be alive. And I know how great it is to have the gift of recovery from the dis-ease of loss of inner peace. So I'm motivated from in here. I get up every day and I'm figuring out who am I going to celebrate today.
when this is over, can you and I go out and have a cup of coffee together?
I'll have some iced tea with. I haven't
Iced tea.
drank coffee in
You'll
13
need to
years.
sign a waiver.
I want to become your friend.
You are my friend.
No, I want to spend time with you. I don't want to be just a friend that says, yeah, he's my friend.
Oh, yeah.
I want to learn from you because I think the essence of who you are, what you believe, and what you've said is where I'd like to grow to. I think you're a special individual. I think your accomplishments, they might have given you some awards and some medals. I think it greatly underscores the impact you've had on everybody you've touched. You are a positive change maker. And I don't think it came easy for you. I think you had to sacrifice every day to become the man you want to become.
Oh, you do? Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
And that is the amazing part of your journey. Is it wasn't natural. It was something that you had to consciously say, I don't want to be this person. I want to be that person. And this is what I'm going to do to change myself. And if you could touch more people with your message and your example, I think you can change more people
Oh, absolutely. I believe that.
because you are a unique, driven, successful. I don't know how much money you got. I don't know what kind of car you drive, but success in the eyes of God in our community and what you've given us. I want to thank you very much. You are special.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Do you primarily work with veterans, or does your reach extend beyond that with people who would need your help?
I would not turn down anyone who came and asked me for help. One of the offshoots of being a chaplain, I'm chaplain for Vietnam Veterans of America. My Heroes at Home program touches not only the veterans but their families, and the families have different branches on their tree, and I might go to do a celebration to give a veteran a pin and a flag and a plaque and a map. But while I'm there, I'm going to meet some member of the family that has some deep needs, spiritual needs of some sort. Or they might need to have a wedding done. They might need somebody to pray with them. They might need somebody to help them write a resume. I pretty much do
Doc, I'm
whatever comes
interested.
to me.
I'm not interested in the superficial crap. I'm interested in the soul touching, game changing stuff.
Well, and that really is. Here's one thing that happened. I did well. I'm with one community hospice. I'm one of their chaplains. They don't pay me or anything. I just go there and I do.
Right.
Whenever a veteran goes into hospice, they have about a 35, 40-minute little get together where they bring whatever kind of cake that veteran wants. And one of the chaplains will play a few verses of some patriotic songs. I usually do the opening prayer, and then I present the plaques and everything to the veteran.
Like
I was out at Lake Jacomo. There were 3 brothers and a cousin who were all in Vietnam together. I went out and did their celebration for them. One of the 4 guys was nonverbal. He was in a wheelchair. He had Lou Gehrig's disease, and he died a week later. So I went to the visitation, presented the widow with a surviving spouse pin, and prayed with her. Her sister-in-law calls me, and she has a brother in Savannah, Georgia, who was a highly decorated 27-year Air Force combat veteran,
he's going to.
Chief Master Sergeant. So she wanted to have the same celebration for him that I did for the other guys. And so what I did was when I went to the convention in Orlando in August, I went over to the Georgia table and found somebody from Savannah, one of our Vietnam vets from Savannah. And I said, I want you to do this for me. So these people are coming down on the 28th of September, and they want this. And she'll have everything with her because I've already provided it all. I need you to present that to this veteran on behalf of this family. And so those kinds of things happen. So I
Doc.
send stuff all over the world.
Doc, do you have a following?
I have 3,800 friends on Facebook.
I think you should consider a newsletter or a podcast or something where you can get your message out and have it documented so that your disciples, and there should be disciples of the Doc Gooden movement, that can emulate and further your agenda for years to come. Because what you're doing is so much more than one man can do.
Mhm.
And I think you should have ambassadors.
Are you mentoring anybody?
Are you mentoring successors?
Currently, no.
Find some.
I just have not, I haven't gotten to a place in my work.
Am I way off base here?
No, because
I just haven't gotten into a place in my work where I've got more than I can do. I get the flags, the cases, 3x5 flags.
You just don't want to give up all the cake.
No,
what it is.
I
You go to
really-
all these things for the free cake.
I'm happy. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm all about cake.
I was
If
told there'd be cake.
If I ate
Right.
cake, my shirt wouldn't fit.
Right.
You know, waist is a terrible thing to
I
mind.
know.
Oh yeah. So anyway, I would be, I am actually thinking about it. And here's something that kind of brought this to the surface is Vietnam Veterans of America at our convention were talking about a date to close down our organization because all of our Vietnam veterans are getting over 80 years old. There won't be anybody left to do anything. But when they came out, they said the date was changed from 5 years ahead to be determined.
Hmm.
Well, let me tell you what is unique about the Vietnam War, from my perspective. Never in the history of the United States of America were our soldiers spat on at home, other than Vietnam. Never were we sent into battle without the mandate to win, except for Vietnam. There probably been other wars that have been as polarizing. The Civil War was probably as polarizing, but it divided our people, and it is a ugly stain on the core values of who Americans want to be and who America was at that time. And I think the Vietnam soldiers should be more memorialized than any other veteran group for what they had to endure to represent and serve.
Here's what we did with that, Bob. Our credo is never again will there be a generation of warriors forgotten.
Good.
Right.
See, my program isn't just for Vietnam veterans. It's for veterans of all wars, all branches, all ages.
Right.
And like I said, I send stuff all over the country.
You need to develop some mentors. I said mentors, some
This
some
is a
apprentices.
very good thought. I
Continue
honestly,
your
God, I hadn't
legacy.
really thought
Right.
of it. I thought about it for well,
Give me
I had
back
already
that crap
decided
you threw
even if
away. Give me
uh,
back that crap you threw away.
It's not.
I don't know why you just disregarded it like this.
You
but-
told me to put it away, you
I
slut.
didn't tell you to throw it off the table.
You did. You kept getting it out of the camera sight.
These things that we read about you separate you from everybody else. A lot of people give lip service to what you're doing, what you've done. Nobody else has dedicated their life to it. You should be celebrated on a much higher level. And I think the best way to celebrate you is to have people succeed you and preach your message and do your service in the same footsteps that you've led them in. And I think you need to find some apprentices, some ambassadors, and some people who say, Doc, teach me how to talk to people. Teach me how to care better. teach me how to get involved, how to be meaningful, and not just show up and give lip service.
Mhm.
You are a very, very special individual.
Thank you.
Right. So, are you married?
Yes,
Kids?
She's still with us.
34 years.
I'm sorry to hear
We,
that.
we
That's
just celebrated.
that's more than enough.
9/9 of 89, we celebrated 34 years.
9/9.
That's continuous, nights and weekends included.
No time off.
See, he gets
No.
that.
Susan is one of my heroes. She's my best friend. In addition to the military stuff, I had 27 years in law enforcement and 18 or 17 in fire service, where
Jeez,
we would be sitting down eating
You're
dinner.
142 years old.
I know.
what haven't you done?
Well, some of this was concurrent, but as a chaplain, when the buzzer goes off, you drop what you're doing and you go be with that family.
Right.
So there'll be so many times when we'd be sitting and having dinner, and dinner would go in a paper bag. I'd see Susan at home about 2:00 in the morning, whatever time I got home. She never complained.
See, you know,
She never said a word.
you know what the problem is, and I don't mean to. You're only 5'8". You're not 7'4". You're a giant, and you're stuck in this little average body. You walk into the room, and nobody knows that you're the giant. You're something special. You really are. I applaud you all the way around. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Do you have kids too?
Yes, we do. Actually, we have 9 great granddaughters.
9?
Yeah,
You
and now,
haven't told them I have grandsons yet, have you?
well,
You know,
that's
there's a special way.
This
you
is
do it.
coming. This is coming. First, we got 9 great granddaughters, and we're looking at the kids saying, "What's up?" So we just found out a couple of weeks ago that our granddaughter and her husband in Omaha are having a boy. We got 3.
Oh,
We got
wow.
3 more in the oven, and one of them's a boy for sure. We don't know about the other 2 yet; those are too new. But
Congratulations.
Yeah.
oh, this is a very, very special man. You talk about handing stuff down. Check this out. So, my first Christmas with my kids in Florida, it was 22 degrees that winter. It was the coldest winter in the history of Florida. The grapefruit were
Florida,
freezing,
22.
falling on the ground. So I couldn't find, I'd only been sober since Thanksgiving, so I didn't have a job. I didn't have any money. So I found this old piece of 2x4 and I carved out the sailboat. And we went down to the lake that day, Christmas Day. We sailed the sailboat. That was our Christmas. 50 years ago, my youngest son calls me a couple of weeks ago to tell me the news about the grandson coming. He says, "Now I've got somebody to give the sailboat to." That
Aw.
sailboat has
He's
been
kept
on a rack in his on the coffee table in his den for 50 years,
Wow.
and now he's got a grandson to give it to.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
What comes next for you?
For me, I think you just gave me. I just think you just gave me the idea. No, really,
Can I
truly.
say something?
You did.
Oh, you did. I need to start a little recruiting program, and find some people
You
to.
do.
You were a reverend, right?
Mhm.
Don't they always look for apprentices and people to follow in the church and right take on some meaningless shit and grow into it, right? Start a class of 3-4 people and say, I want to develop a new class of givers. People understand it's more important to give than take. Now, I'm not telling you to give up your full-time job. I'm not telling you take time and money away from your family. I'm saying create more to give more.
Sure.
And whether they're 25 or 35, right? Find
So
some people.
I'm taking this to heart, Bob. I'm going to.
Start in your church, your neighborhood, your family, right? There's got to be somebody who sees that you are as special as you are. I mean, somebody's got to see it, and somebody's got to say, let me sit at his elbow and learn. Because look, it's not what you know. I don't know how much you know yet. It's how much you give.
Mhm.
And giving is an attitude. Giving is a gift of being able to share other people, enlighten other people, make them feel important.
Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Exactly.
Right. You got, and there's a lot of people, I don't know if they're nurses or firemen or policemen. They care. They just don't know how to give the way you give. You got to find other people. You really do. What do you got for Doc?
I'm just in awe. Like I said, I don't even know how you've accomplished all you've done. And I'm just curious, even now, what is an average day for you like? What do you do every day? Is it new and different every day? Are you always out there with
It's just, well, it's kind of different every day. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I do play golf. I have fun. I have a life, you know.
Oh, wait. You play golf.
Mhm.
Are you any good?
Yes.
All right. What kind of scores are you shooting now?
I shoot in the high 70s, low 80s.
wow.
Wait. For 18?
Uh-huh.
You shot your age.
Yeah. Twice this year I was shot my age.
Damn! I've never met anybody who has shot their age before.
Well, I got really busy in golf. I have a friend, I have an adopted brother that I've had for 34 years.
How well does that pay?
We don't have any papers on him or anything, but he's family.
Right.
So he's a retired steel worker, and he's got a high school education. So he calls me up one day, Doc, hey, we got to get thermal imaging cameras on all the fire trucks in America, and I know how many high schools there are in the country, and how many people go, and if we could just get everybody to host a golf tournament, we'd have enough money to buy thermal imaging cameras for all the fire trucks in America. And I said, well, hey, that's really great. Where do you think we ought to do? He said, well, that's as far as I got. I said, he was watching Oprah, and they had Ladder 49 on there. What's his gadget? The actor was on there with Ladder 49. And he saw thermal imaging cameras. So he got the bright idea, that's what he should do. And there's not anybody with a bigger heart than Gorda. So anyway, we play golf together. We're golf buddies. So I said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we start a golf tournament, raise the money, and buy some thermal imaging cameras locally, and maybe get the fire started to put out the fire. So in 13 years, we raised a little over $100,000, and we bought thermal imaging cameras for all the volunteer fire districts in Missouri that could read and write. And so
you wouldn't have to see, everybody knows how to read and write in Kansas. It's Missouri, you have that problem.
we do. I mean, you get down in the Boot Hill, you're like, in this one group, there's only 6 guys in the fire district, and their pumper didn't run. So what they had to do was hook a logging chain and pull a tractor to the fire and to pump the water.
Right.
Anyway, but that's just one of the things that we had fun. We played golf and we made $100,000.
Have you heard of the PGA Hope?
Yes.
Because I work for the PGA, one of my contract jobs, and that's one of the pillars of their foundation.
Mhm.
And it's a great program for veterans, and golf is a fantastic outlet.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I
anything
signed
about
up for,
Maybe we should
they were
take
supposed to have
lessons
some
from
lessons
somebody, Ron.
over at Drum Farm. And I guess the list was full, so I wasn't able to get in. I mean, I don't know if I really need golf lessons or not, but I was going to work on my game anyway.
But also, because of my familiarity with the program,
give
you
lessons.
would be a great person to participate in the program, but not necessarily as a student, but maybe to help the other veterans that do it for the first time.
I would do that.
Because I could put you in touch with people through the Midwest Section PGA.
Do
They
that.
have programs throughout the summer.
Wait. You're 79.
Yeah.
Any witnesses?
Witnesses.
Yeah, I mean, I could say I shot at 79 too, but are there any witnesses?
Well, we could believe
Yeah.
believe you were
My
lying.
next door neighbors watched me get 2 aces.
All right then. I want to make sure this is legit. You're not just pulling my
Well,
leg.
see, I'm trying to catch up to my friend Gordon. He's 10 or 12 years younger than I am. And he's got 3 hole-in-ones and I've only got 2.
Wow.
So I'm trying to get one more before I get much older,
Play shorter holes.
just to catch up with him.
Play shorter holes.
Yeah.
Go out to Smiley's. There's a
Yeah.
Better shot.
That's interesting because my husband.
But
used-
yeah, hey, I would, working with other vets in terms of helping them get their spirit up and rolling, I'm all over that. That's what I essentially what I do with the celebrations that I do with veterans.
Who do you relate with vets? Vets, kids, people of the same church. Where do you find your best connections?
Probably veterans, I would say. I do most of my work with veterans now. There was a time when I didn't want anybody to know I was a veteran.
Right.
And what came out of that, well, in 2010, I was with Blue Springs Police Department at the time. I was the operations supervisor for the volunteer program. I hired 50 volunteers.
Right.
And you hire volunteers just like you're going to pay them.
Right.
You want to read their resume. You don't need warm bodies. You want to read the resume. You want to interview them, find out what they're about, what they're interested in doing, what they will do, what they're available for, and then you find a place in a job description within the department and you plug them in.
Hire slow, fire fast.
Went 8 years, only lost 4. One died. One wouldn't quit telling the captain stupid jokes. He just, a nice guy, hardworking. He just wouldn't shut up. And one was a college student that moved away, and the other guy just decided to go do something else. But out of 50 people,
That's
You
pretty
hired
good
them.
keeping
record.
46 or 8 years, that isn't bad.
Right.
But so we had the traveling wall, Vietnam Wall, came to Blue Springs that year, and we were asked to come out and help with security. So I took my volunteer police people and set them up with shifts and security and helping people with stuff. And I pretty much stayed out there the whole time. So walking in front of that wall for a few days was really hard because I had one of the names on that wall was the younger brother of my best friend from high school that lived 2
Wow.
blocks down the street from me. And so I went home Saturday night. Yeah, we're there from Wednesday to Sunday. I went home Saturday night. I wasn't going to go back up. I'm checking my emails when I get home because I hadn't checked my emails. And I got an email from a kid's sister, a friend of mine down in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, where I went through the formative years. Anyway, sent me a message about all the presidents of the United States who had Sunday services in the White House. And I didn't know that. So this is 11 o'clock at night. Now I'm going, hey, thank you for that. Here's what I'm doing. She must have been sitting right by her computer because she sends me a message right back. East Wall 73, 251st name down. First Lieutenant Charles R. Pitts. That's my cousin. Back up Sunday morning.
Oh, wow.
Got a plaque, got a flag, got the pin medallions, everything that they had for Vietnam vets. And I packaged that up and sent it to the family.
That was
I
the
got
first
up the
time.
next morning and like, boy,
Yep,
I know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
So the first one went to New Smyrna Beach, Florida, where I went to school. And so since then, it's just been a lot of people around the country. Robert Holstrom.
Excuse me just a second.
Yeah.
Brenda, is he somebody awfully special? Is what he's accomplished different than most everybody else's stories?
He's done a lot of speaking too.
Would you please try to seduce him to get him more involved in your foundation? Because I think he can add an awful lot,
He gave me permission to contact him. So
I
that's
did.
what we're gonna do.
right?
And I hope you do.
We're
You
gonna
can
have
make a
one-on-one.
difference.
So
I'm sorry to interrupt.
no, that's okay. So David Nastor is a good friend of mine. the Nasty Blaster.
Yeah.
He's an international showboat comedian. He's traveled the world, written a number of books
Books,
on You Just Have to Laugh. And he
Oh,
laughs at cancer, divorce, anything in a loving, sensitive, caring way to help people heal from those things. And he wrote one called You Just Have to Love, and my story's in that book.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so David is just an amazing guy, and I did a podcast with him last year, and
is our podcast better than his podcast?
I don't know, because I don't know if we're done yet or not.
We're almost done. We can't afford to keep the tape's about to run out.
I know, we've been here a little while. Oh my God. But anyway, David was sitting on the audience with the daughter of this guy at another comedy show. Her dad's name is Robert Holmstorm, was a W2 tail gunner in one of the B-24s that they painted black and flew the 80 night missions, Normandy.
Wow.
And he got me in touch with her, and I got in touch with him, did a plaque for his service. Now you got to imagine a guy who fits in a tail gunner in an airplane. He can't be 8 feet tall.
No.
He's not in physical height, but this guy's a giant. They wrote 2 books about him. Anyway, so last year, Robert gets the COVID. He goes in the hospital for a week. He's 96. Goes into the hospital for a week, comes out, flies to Normandy for his reunion. He's still going. I get heart to heart with these people, and they're everywhere.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
The people you meet that we don't even know are out
Oh, look, the military, the fire service, fire department, police service, the church, the vets. I mean, this man has served our community his whole entire lifetime, and plaques are meaningless. Plaques are meaningless. I don't think plaques. I got plenty of plaques. I got plenty of awards. What you need is the disciples to make sure the message and the quality of what's important to you is carried on.
there. Definitely.
I'm really going to work on that.
You've got the wheels spinning in them now.
Yeah, see, you still got the energy now. 5 years from now, you might not have the energy to impact
I
and
should.
seduce.
Yeah, you don't seem like someone who knows how to pull back throttle. You
He
know?
walked in this room. When he walked in, it was like, seriously, like a little light bulb went on because he just brightened up the whole room a little bit. You do. You walk in
It's
with
my
that
job.
Well, nobody's ever accused you of doing that, lighting up a room when you walk in.
I'm a dark, evil presence,
Oh,
babe.
yeah.
But your hair doesn't look that dark. Doc.
But if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
My Facebook page is Doc Golden,
Doc, like DOC,
DOC, short for doctor.
Golden, like
Golden.
the golden years.
The golden years, yeah. My telephone number is 816-225-6867.
But don't call after 8 because his wife might get jealous.
Operations are standing by. Susan never looks at my cell phone.
If somebody wanted to become a disciple, contact you.
Yeah. I'll be happy to talk to anybody about helping with what I'm doing. Absolutely.
And they don't have to have military service or anything like that.
No, you just have to have a willing heart and just don't mind spending some time having fun.
It is about giving more than you take.
Yeah.
Whatever relationship you're in, whether it's a marriage, a parent, employee, you have to be willing to give more than you take to have a successful relationship. And the more you give, the more meaningful you are to our society.
I've got several people I'm working with right now that are in recovery. My doctoral dissertation was a book called Loving Me More So I Can Love You Better. And one of the tools that's in it is called a relationship resume. And so you have these 7 areas where you look at the spiritual aspects of that part of the relationship and decide what the important aspects are. And then you begin to practice those. And then you run into that person you're looking for, and you're going to find somebody just like you. So I just, sometimes over lunch, I eat at Czar Barbecue every day.
I
I eat,
we're gonna, do you still have a business card?
yeah.
Because I gave you mine, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I give you mine?
Not yet.
I didn't?
No.
Can't believe I didn't. I gave one to somebody.
Sure.
There we go.
Okay.
That's all right. I got a whole box full here.
Reverend Doc.
Ed.
No, wait. Reverend Dr. Doc.
Ed Doc Golden. Chaplain.
Chaplain. You're special, brother. Thank you very much.
I love you, brother.
Love you too. You know.
Nice having you on.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Ann. Thanks for hooking up.
Yeah.
Till next time. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.